everybody, my name's Carrie. Thank you so much for joining me. Whether you're new or returning, I appreciate you being here. This is my little spot on YouTube where I get on and share the crafty things that I've been doing. Mostly knitting, a little bit of crochet, sometimes some quilting, sometimes some painting, you never know. It's been a little bit. It was like the first part of January, I think the last time that I recorded. Today is February 24th, 2021. 2021? It's been 5 years since I started my channel. Sometime in February, I don't remember the exact date, but sometime in February of 2016? No, 2016? Yeah, so it's been 5 years. So, woo! This is episode 90. My episodes have gotten a little bit more spread out over the last year or so, just because I don't have as much to show. And I've been meaning to get on here probably a month ago, but I was just never really feeling like I was in the right headspace to do it. So I didn't. And, but here I am. I have things to show. I have some things that I wanted to show you, but I've already given them away. So we'll talk about it all anyway. We just kind of had a big freeze. I think still some parts of the United States are still dealing with it. Texas really got hit hard. Oklahoma, those southern states, not used to getting cold weather, and that was pretty tough, and I feel bad. We had really cold weather. We had nearly a foot of snow here, and we haven't had snow like that in years, which I loved, and it was really fun for me. I didn't have to go anywhere. Jim got to take a couple days off from work, which he never does, and it was really nice. But we kept our power. We were still nice and toasty warm in the house, and you know, it got really, really cold, and I even was monitoring my hummingbird feeders because my poor little hummingbirds will come and eat, and then within a few hours my food that I had in the feeders would freeze. So I had a second feeder that I kept in the house full, and then I would every couple hours just go switch them out so they always had food to eat. So they were very appreciative of that because they'd come buzzing like in my face as I'm hooking up the feeder. You know, they come and they're just like right there, which was kind of cool. So yeah, it got real cold and snowy, but we have tiny little patches of snow still in the backyard from where we shoveled and piled it, but for the most part it's gone. And it was fun while it lasted, but today's nice and sunny. A little bit of a chilly walk this morning, but it's sunny now. So after I record this, I may just go find a sunny spot outside and sit outside for a little bit. But anyway, I'm trying to remember like what's happened in the last couple of months. So hopefully I can, and hopefully this will all be cohesive and you'll all understand where I'm coming from. We've been really busy here repainting the inside of our house. Just kind of updating. We updated with a new vanity and everything in the downstairs bathroom, painted pretty much the whole downstairs, most of the upstairs, and that's just a lot of work, and we were very tired, and that's part of the reason why I didn't film. I finished up yesterday with the painting, so we're done, and it feels really good. It feels really good to have something kind of fresh, and I'm taking down old quilts and artwork that I had up and putting up, kind of moving some stuff and not putting up some of the stuff. So some new stuff. So this is a quilt that was hanging up downstairs that I'm not going to hang up again. I like the quilt well enough, but it's not, I'm not like, it's not my favorite. So that is a quilt. I talked about it a kind of a long time ago that I made through a quilting guild challenge that was to use black and white and one other color. And you can make whatever you wanted. So I designed this quilt and I wanted to use yellow because I never use yellow. And I thought that would be a really good stretch. Designed this quilt in my EQ program. My EQ program's pretty old. It's an EQ7, I think, and it was installed on my old computer, so I really don't even have it anymore, but It was fun to work on, and I did some really nice quilting on it and stuff, but it's like bumblebee colors, which doesn't really float my boat. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it, because what do you do with it? It's a square wall hanging size. So anyway, I did order a kit to make a new quilt to hang up. And it's going to be a Storm at Sea quilt. That is it's an old pattern or an old block or whatever that's been around for a long time, and I've wanted to make one for a really long time, and I found a kit online. It has all the fabric. The fabrics are batiks, which I think will be great, because then batiks don't really age as far as style as some prints can, and it'll give it kind of a watercolor effect. So I should be getting that by the end of the week, hopefully. And I'll be able to share that with you next time. So yes, I'm going to make a new quilt, and I'm kind of excited about it. So that will be coming soon. I have done some knitting. I've done quite a few socks, and I did finish my weaving, so I'll share that with you as well. Where did I put it? Oh, it's right here. Okay. So, a few weeks ago, the beginning of February, it was my friend's birthday, my really good friend's birthday. And what she wanted to do for her birthday was to go camping, just the two of us. So we went to a campground that's not very far, and we each had our own sites. Our husbands drove us to the campground, set our trailers up, and then left. And it was just us two for the weekend, and it was fabulous. So I got some knitting done, and I also started a new, to me, project that I got, a paint by number kit. And I had been eyeballing them for quite a while, probably the last couple of years, and just kind of like, should I? Is it really what it seems like it's going to be? I don't always trust the ads and things like that you see on TV. And then Kim at Barnyard Knits had started one, and I was messaging with her like, how is it? Is it good? She's like, yeah, it's good. So I found one on Amazon. So this is what I'm making. This is what I worked on a little bit. I mean, it's very slow because the painting parts are very tiny, but this is what it's going to look like when it's done. Hopefully something like this. It's a pretty good size. So this is what I've gotten done so far. So, you know, all those little teeny tiny pieces, and I'm trying to stay in the lines and all that. And I really enjoy working on it. The paints seem to be working just fine. They dry pretty quickly, so I have to kind of monitor my brush and clean it off a little more frequently. But I just kind of like every once in a while, I have it set up. Just every once in a while, just come up and like pick a number and find numbers, you know, find other numbers like that, and just start painting the little pieces. So I'm excited about getting that done, and I don't anticipate getting it done quickly. I know it's going to take a while, but that was really fun. And we just sat and visited and watched movies, and oh, it was so good. So I mentioned that I finished my weaving. So I borrowed a rigid heddle loom. It's a shocked Cricut 15-inch rigid heddle loom that I borrowed from a friend to see if I liked it. I was doing the weaving as part of the New to You make along that was hosted by several different podcasters, but headed by the girls at Cocktails at the Coop. And I thought, okay, I've tried a lot of different crafts, so to try and find something that I hadn't done before for this make-along was tough, but I thought, you know, I've really always wanted to try weaving. And then, you know, I've seen Caleb, who's the Bearded Pearl, seen his towels, and I always thought, I'm going to get a loom and I'm going to make everybody towels and all that. So I started weaving on it, and I didn't really care for it. I like my finished product. So I did make a pretty good sized scarf, I guess. I haven't finished off the ends because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. My thought right now is that I'm going to cut it and make it into a bag. I'm glad that I did it, but it really took me forever because I did not enjoy working on it. And I can't tell you exactly why. It just was not something that like drew me to it. And I wouldn't let myself start anything else until I finished it. And so then that became like this drudgery of trying to do this weaving project that I don't want to do. I'm happy with the end result. But I'm not going to be buying a loom, which I was so thankful that I had the opportunity to borrow hers because I had been eyeballing them for a few years and I really thought I would love it. I really wanted to love it. And I for whatever reason, it just didn't. For what, I don't know. So I did make fabric. I did finish it to this point. These are all the ends that I cut off of the loom, but my warp is an acrylic from Joann's or Michael's or something, and the weft was a hand dyed that I dyed years ago. I think it looks pretty cool. I could even leave it as a table runner, but I don't know. Right now, it's just that it's done, and it's got to sit and marinate some more for me to decide what it's going to do. But I finished it, and that was good, and I finished it in time for the mal to be over, and there you have it. I did remember when I did, for those of you that have been watching for a while, I have done some ice dyeing on fabric, and you can check back probably a couple episodes. And I had talked about getting these kind of muslin pouches off of Amazon and trying to ice dye them. Well, it worked. And I wanted to show you. So I just laid it on the rack like this and, did the ice and the dye. You can see the lines from the rack that it was laying on. So that's something that happened. I don't notice that when I do it on fabric because the fabric is kind of scrunched, but being that this laid flat, it did that. And so I even thought to maybe just hand embroider something on those lines to make them look purposeful, but I don't know if I'm going to actually do all that, but it worked. So I have a little notions pouch, no frills kind of a thing. And these held up because this needs to be washed quite a few times. I washed it before I did the dyeing to make sure if there were any sizing chemicals or anything like that on them, that washed out first, did the dyeing, and then you're rinsing and drying and all that kind of stuff quite a bit. So happy with that. So as far as knitting, I have gotten quite a few socks done by knitting a tube on my Brother knitting machine. I've talked about how I got the ribber attachment. Check back a couple episodes maybe where I talked about that. And but I gave a couple pairs to my mom. So the first pair that I made, because I was over there one day and I was just working on the toe or the heel or whatever, because I hand do the cuff, heel, and the toe. And I said, well, try this on and see if how this fits you. And my foot's bigger than hers. And so I thought, okay, let me decrease the amount of rows I do on the foot part. And so I made her a pair out of Knit Picks Beyond the Wall colorway, which is the blues and grays. And then I made another pair out of some mustache yarn that I had quite a while. And I had purchased that yarn from Mustache Yarns, and it's she separates them into 250-gram balls that are identical. But when I was knitting back then, when I first got it, I was hand knitting the socks, and there were a couple of knots in it, and so I had to cut that. And the pattern I was using, it like messed up the whole sequence of the stripes, and I got really pissed off about it. And so I ripped the socks out. And I put them away. I contacted Mustache Yarn, and I was not satisfied with her response. And so I just was kind of mad at it and just put it aside. So I thought, you know what? I need to get this out of my cupboard because I need to move on from this. So I thought I'll make these socks. And so I knit the tube, did the heels, cuffs, and toes, did not try and match any striping or anything because they wouldn't match because of the knots that were in it, blah, blah, blah. And they look great. And she likes the fact that they're not matching. So, so those are the pictures there. Another pair that I finished that I'm anxious to wear is these. This is Knit Picks yarn. This is Punch Bug, right? Punch Bug, yeah. And they almost turned out, like the heels turned out almost identical. These colors were so similar to that mustache yarn, which is why I gave them to my mom. Because I thought, I love the colors, but I don't really need two pairs of socks that are similar, and these were too long for her. So that's part of what went into the decision to give those to her. So I knit this with a 64 stitch, and I just did your basic afterthought heel, like 15 rows, I think, of ribbing, and then a rounded toe. So now I can wear these. The mustache ones, I really hoped that I was going to record before I gave them to her, but Eileen commented on my last video to try Kay Jones's umbrella socks that she has a pattern for an umbrella heel, and it's just the way that you decrease it gives you a little more of a cup for your heel, and they fit me pretty well. I think I'm going to try that on my next pair, but they fit my mom, so I got them. So thank you, Eileen, for mentioning that. I hadn't ever heard of the pattern. I did try her bind off at the top of the cuff that was supposed to mimic a long tail cast on, which is what I would normally do if I knit them cuff down. I didn't find them to be as stretchy as a long tail cast on, and it could be that I maybe pulled the yarn a little too snug when you're trying to make the stitches. But it was kind of nice. It was just like a sewn bind off, but I need to do it a lot looser, I think. It is a lot easier for me to do that than what I did here, which is very stretchy and will work, but it's the knit through the back loop kind of cast off, which is just harder to do, slower to do, but it works fine. So, yeah, the umbrella socks was a good pattern. And I didn't do the toe because I liked the rounded toe that I do, but the heel was kind of interesting. So my next pair, I think, is going to be using that method. So speaking of my next pair, yesterday I made myself another couple of tubes. I've really, really enjoyed having the sock tubes available for me to just pick up and work on the cuff or the heel. That's a great take along project. When I go and visit my parents, I'll take that because that's something easy. I don't need a pattern. I don't need to keep track of anything really. It's easy to count where I'm at or whatever. So I'm trying to have a pair of socks in my bag all the time. So since I finished the ones for my mom, I'm like, well, I need to crank out my next one. And so I did this. This is from Trilogy Yarns. This is Llamas and Drag. And I got this on her Razzle Dazzle base, which is a sparkle. It's got silver stellina in it. So one's a little darker than the other, but they have a really cool kind of a spiral pooling going on, which I like. So yeah, and I'll just do the same color for the cuffs and the toes and the heels and stuff, because I've got quite a bit left. And so that's going to be my next sock in my bag after I finish the ones that I'm actually hand knitting. So I'm going to blame a lot of stuff on the bearded pearl. It's either Justin's fault or Caleb's fault. So I think it was Caleb, but it's hard to tell. Probably Caleb. That turned me on to a dyer called, it's Woolens and Nosh. And she makes self-striping yarn, but she has self-striping DK. And I was like, I need to try this. So I've got this in these pastel colors because I don't know why I was just feeling pastel. Get that out of the way. So I'm starting a repeat on the color. Here is where I started here. And I'm making a pair of Shorty DK socks. And the reason why I decided to do that is because I wear socks when I go to bed. I don't always keep them on all night, but when I first go to bed, my feet are cold. And so until everything warms up, I'll wear socks. And I just have like some Walmart, fleece socks or something that I throw on. I thought, I'm going to make me some nice socks since I wear these pretty much every night. So I'm making DK socks. I love this yarn. Whatever the base is fabulous to work with. It's like an Easter egg. So I am following a pattern called Simple DK Shorty Socks by Woolfield, who is Nicole Bracey. And so her pattern goes from the ribbing right into the cuff, but I added, I think, 10 rows. Hopefully I wrote that down for my next pair to make it a little bit longer. This is such nice yarn to work with. It really is. And so I'm excited to have these done. They go quite a bit faster than your fingering weight. It hurts my hands a little bit, but not terribly bad because the needles are a little bigger, obviously. And I think it's a 3. Yeah, I'm using my Chowgu 3, which is a 3.25 millimeter. So, little DK Shorty socks that look like Easter. So I'm going to go to her site and see what else she has, because I when I first got the yarn, I wasn't sure what I was going to make with it, and I thought maybe a hat, because I thought how fun that would be to have like a cute striped hat. But then I thought, I'll wear the socks every day. I might wear the hat a couple times in the winter, although I did wear my hat today because it was cold. So yeah, Woolens and Nosh, she's got some really, really nice yarn. This DK weight yarn it's a really nice base. I remember like you remember everything I say. I can't even remember what I say. I got Kirby Werby yarn, and it's the Rose Apothecary Remix, which is 22 stripes, and it's Kirby Werby, and I loved it because it is striped, but it's like a rainbow, gradient rainbow. So I wasn't sure what I was going to make with it, but I knew I didn't want to just do socks with it. And Michelle, my friend Michelle, had the book from Jennifer Lotkin, which is Knit Happy. And I went over to her house. This is like weeks and weeks ago. And I wanted to look through it because I don't want to buy a book if there's just one pattern that I like, because that seems like an expensive pattern. And there's actually a couple things. She has a cardigan version of the sock arm sweater, which I thought could be really fun. So anyway, I bought my own copy of the book, and I'm making the Wave at the Rainbow cowl, and it is so cool. So this will obviously show a lot better once it's blocked. I don't want to lose stitches. Here we go. But it's got a really nice like wave pattern. This from here to here is 1 repeat. Isn't that fun? So I cast on using this, it's something that I dyed a long time ago. It's a purple. This is looking maybe a little blue, but it's a blue purple. And so that's the ribbing. I didn't do the ribbing as long as the pattern called for, and I probably won't on the top either because I don't want that to be so big. But really fun pattern, really easy repeats. I don't know how far I'll go. I still have quite a bit of yarn. So I may go through maybe another full repeat, which I'm like halfway because I'm here in the gray, because I'm in the gray here. So I don't know, I might go 3 repeats. I'm not sure. Just keep going because who doesn't love a rainbow? Well, maybe there are people that don't like rainbows. I like rainbows. So that's been a fun knit. There's a knit that I have that I put on hold because, I'm knitting the Bright Note sweater. Let's start there, which is a great pattern, and it's from Janine McCarty, Bright Note sweater. And I've got the body done a while ago. Picked up for the sleeves, knit an entire sleeve, and I was doing the ribbing, and I thought, let me try this on to see how long I need to make it, because I was going for the full length sleeve, but I don't like it to go past my wrist. I like more maybe a bracelet length, because I usually do like 3/4 length, and I thought, let me go full length, see what this looks like. I put it on, and the sleeves are too tight. So I put it in a bag, and I put it away. But then Justin of the Bearded Pearl was like talking about how he took out his entire colorwork sweater because it wasn't the right size. And I thought, if he can do an entire colorwork, I mean, come on. And his sweater is gorgeous, by the way. He's wearing it in his latest episode. Thought I can rip out a sleeve. And because I won't wear the sweater the way it is. The sleeve's too tight. But the sweater, and it's funny because I gauge swatched and got gauge, and I'm making the sweater. It's supposed to have a whole bunch of positive ease, and I was going to have maybe 8 inches of positive ease, and it doesn't have that. It fits. It fits nicely, but it doesn't have a bunch of positive ease. So it's going to grow a little bit when I block it. I realize that, and it's non-superwash, so it's not going to grow a ton. But I did get the body done. So the last time I showed you guys, I was right here. But I got the whole body done, which includes the little bit of color work that's at the bottom. So the colors that I'm doing on the bottom are from Knit Picks, and they are the Chroma Worsted. And I was so excited to get to that point because I thought, oh, it's going to be neat the way it fades through, but you hardly use any yarn. So even though the yarn that I got grade 8s, I never got to a gradation. So I've got tons of yarn. It doesn't use hardly anything, but these are the 3 colors. And I still love it. The pattern calls for this part to be a bobble, and I didn't want a bobble. I like it to be just the dashed lines. So I'm going to pick it up again. I pulled out the sleeve, rewound that yarn, and I will pick it up again and pick up for, because I didn't pick up every stitch, so I think I'll be able to pick up for the next size up, or maybe use a bigger needle to get a little bit looser fit on the sleeve, and I'll do it again. So I was really hoping that this was going to be done for me to be able to use this winter, but I think by the time I actually get done with both sleeves and the collar, we'll be into spring. I won't be able to wear it this year, but they're still camping. So, I could maybe wear it when we go camping, where it tends to get a little bit colder at night, and I'm outside at night and that kind of thing. So, yeah. So like I said, I'm blaming Justin and Caleb for so many things. The last time I recorded, it was just after New Year's, and I hadn't given the gifts that I had made for my coworkers. So I made them some hats, plus I put some other things in their gift bags. So I will show some of the hats that I made. I still have one gift to give that I haven't seen her yet. It is looking like I might go back to work in the next maybe month or so. We'll see. They're talking, the guidelines have all changed and talking about bringing all students back pretty soon. Whereas before they weren't thinking that high school or junior high was going to come back, but it sounds like all the grades will go back. So I work at a high school, and that would be exciting. I've been off work for almost a year. It was about mid-March when we closed everything down. So I am looking forward to it. I get my second vaccine next week, so I will be vaccinated before I go back, which makes me really happy. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm just kind of in a holding pattern, waiting to see what's going on. I did purchase some yarns aside from the trilogy yarns, the Llamas in Drag. My friend Lori had given me a gift certificate to Barnyard Knits, and so I ordered some yarn from her. So I got these two, Winter Wonderland, which is just barely gray, kind of almost an oyster color with the speckles of like blue gray and a little bit of pink, and then Frost, which is like a very light acid wash denim color. So got those two, and then Kim from Barnyard Knits and I did kind of an exchange, a little barter thing. And so I made something for her, and then she said, will you do it for yarn? I'm like, sure, send me whatever. This is what I've just recently got. I got these two. I'm like, send me something. And so she knew I like purple, and so she sent me speckled eggs. So that's pretty. It's a really pretty lavender with these nice speckles in there. And she sent me some minis. So these I think will be fun for who knows what. Some kind of color work and something maybe. Let's make my own stripes for sweaters. And then just recently she had some one-of-a-kinds that went on sale, that she put on sale. And so I bought a couple skeins of this one-of-a-kind. Doesn't have a colorway, but I thought, I don't have any neutrals, like true neutral. But this could go really good with something. And I thought, what this could be is Andrea Mowry's got a sweater out called Stripes. I think that's just the name of it. And I thought, what if I striped these? I don't know that there's enough contrast here, but I could even do that. And just have like gentle stripes, not like in your face stripes, because I can't have everything in your face. So I might do that. I would have enough, especially if I added this in there. I would have enough. What do you think? Oh, and I didn't bring up my pink hair. So last week I thought, let me dye my hair pink again. I've done it before. And I got some dye. It's just some L'Oreal stuff that I got and I've used before, and it's called Dusty Pink or something like that. And I did it and my hair turned out peach, and it was like, that's not really the color I was going for, and peach isn't really a great color for me. I'll just throw some pink over the top of it that I've used before. So I put pink over the top and my hair turned like coral. So this is a week of it like washing out, and it's a slow washout kind of a stuff, and my hair grows pretty fast. I get my hair cut like every 4 weeks. So it's going to go away, but now it's more of like a salmon color. Like, okay, I need to go back to work or something because I'm starting to do crazy things. So yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, that wasn't such a good idea. Oh, well. So that's another reason why I didn't record. I was going to record last week, and I'm like, I was too embarrassed because my hair was a lot brighter looking than that. I was a little bit embarrassed to get on here and record, but it's faded out enough now. It doesn't look so bad. And like I said, it'll slowly go away and it'll all be good. I think I covered everything. Can you believe it's been so many weeks and I'm only like maybe a half-hour episode? Whatever. So coming up, then I have the quilt that I'm going to work on, still doing socks, and going to hopefully finish my sweater. We'll be getting into spring here pretty soon, and making plans already for camping. Got some reservations. I'm hoping to do a backpacking trip this summer. We'll have to see. I'm fatter than I was the last time I backpacked, so hopefully my backpack fits around me still. That is so sad when your backpack doesn't even fit. I don't know, it might, hopefully. If not, I'll figure it out. But hopefully we can do something like that. I have to wait till the weather gets really nice and snow melts and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you guys, wherever you are safe and healthy and not frozen and not having any issues with weather and stuff. So keep on crafting, and thank you so much again for joining me, and I will see you next time.